What up, Naughty Steppers? It's Connor Whitmore here again with another review for you on the Nawtystep channel. And, I can't quite believe I'm saying this, but it's time for a review of the new track from Marshmello and Sudden Death, Sellout. This is the hot off the press collaboration from the modern day EDM superstar Marshmello and dubstep's man of the moment, Sudden Death. A pairing that in itself comes completely out of nowhere, considering these two are from polar opposite ends of the electronic music spectrum. However, when you consider that Danny Howland remixed Marshmello's Happier at the back end of last year, it doesn't seem quite as outlandish. They clearly struck up a relationship in the process of getting that together, and, well, here we are. How I reacted to and felt about the news of this track being a thing changed drastically over a short period of time. My original feelings, along with that of many others, were not entirely positive, I'll say that much. I found it difficult not to see it as a complete PR thing, each party capitalising on their respective statures within their scenes, if that makes sense. Especially because many lauding Howland at the time were talking about how much money he'd get for it, which left a bit of a sour taste. But over time, I started to think more about just how crazy and awesome it is that something like this is happening. Mr. Howland is someone who's worked his way up from the underground to the summit of dubstep in a very short space of time, and a collaboration with an artist in the top 10 monthly streamed on Spotify in the whole world is just a result and reflection of that. Furthermore, Howland comes across as a very genuine character and personality, so to think that this thing was money driven, as opposed to about the music and what could come of their combined creative powers, struck me as a bit perverse. The fact that it's called Sellout even seems to be a mockery of that idea. Also, nothing about me wanted to be that person who denies musicians from completely different musical walks of life working together. Music is about collaboration, bringing different worlds and cultures together, the exchange of ideas, and I came to a point where I was glad this was happening because of that, whilst also being happy for Howland that he'd be getting this crazy recognition. But yeah, that was how my thoughts on it changed prior to listening, and now for my thoughts on the track itself, Sellout. And off the bat, I would say that this is quite a clear conjoining of styles, but to what extent, having listened to it several times now, I'm still not sure. It has your attention right from the off. The intro is vibrant, pulsating, alive and alert, really holds you from the very first seconds. An intro not too dissimilar to something you'd see from Sudden Death normally, but does still have that slightly uplifting poppy tinge to it. In both builds, I really like the euphoric start, lovely musical direction to them, and they set up the main builds very well. However, the main builds I'm not too big on. I understand that's how they work for the most part, spiraling down with a snappy vocal sample, but the musicality is done so well leading up to that point that it would have been nice to see that extended into the builds more. And the drops, well, they're mad, mighty, savage, real presence to them, heavy metallic riddim that just bulldozes its way through, with the euphoric breaks giving a nice sense of contrast, and I think where Marshmello's presence is felt most. Although, depending on what you believe, he has produced dubstep under a different alias before, so maybe the drop sequences were completely split. The first drop I do feel could have progressed a little more, as if it's being held back. Then again, I do think the consistency works, because you then have the added touches in the second drop to keep the track ticking over well. It's earthier and darker, with more going on. That squeezed out break before the second drop is also proper naughty. But returning to the point I made at the start of my analysis, I do think there is a clear conjoining of styles here. One that really works for the majority of the track, but again I find myself wondering the extent to which each producer did specific parts. To me it sounds mostly like a Sudden Death track, with the odd poppy vibe added here and there. And I want to say, oh, this bit is definitely Marshmello, but in all honesty, I wouldn't know for sure as I've never really listened to his stuff. In the end, it comes down to me trying to identify the parts that sound the least like sudden death, and assuming from deduction that they are predominantly Marshmello. Therefore, I'd say there is strong Marshmello influence in the introduction, midsection, and first part of the builds, and some in the drops. But again, if you believe what you believe, then you'll probably think he's played quite a substantial part in the dubstep too. Overall though, I think the main builds aside, this is a very cleanly put together track. The bringing together of styles really works, and despite my doubts, it's probably the case that each section was worked on with equal input from both, which makes it all the more impressive as a track. It's a clear mesh of styles, and hard to find too much fault with it, with respect for what it's trying to do. Howland doesn't sacrifice his own style here at all. The fact that I'm questioning the Marshmello influence at points is reflective of that. And he'll get some huge reach following this track, and I think dubstep will be viewed for the better because of his willingness to branch out. Not sure exactly how this will go down with Marshmello fans, but honestly, I doubt he cares. It's a good way for him to branch out as well. Someone who is seen in a specific way outside of his own fan group, and I think this can only help loosen that general tension surrounding his brand. But nah, this is a good track, not special but very decent for what it is, and it leaves me wondering where they'll both go from here. Not sure this kind of crossover will happen again for a long time, so for now, just going to enjoy it for what it is. And so that is that, guys, for another review on the Nawtystep channel, this time of the new collaborative track between Marshmello and Sudden Death, Sell Out. Thank you very much, and as always, for tuning in. Be sure to leave a comment with your thoughts on Sell Out. What did you guys make of it? Did the track turn out as you expected it would? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, then be sure to give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, hitting the notification bell along the way. Nawtystep is all about coverage of bass music across a wide variety of genres, from EP and album reviews to top 5s and top 10s, rave footage, opinion pieces, and more. So again, if that's something that interests you, then consider subscribing. For some other track reviews on the channel, check out the link next to my head somewhere. If you're not following Nawtystep across social media yet, links to all of those are in the description box down below. And lastly, if it's naughty, then you know, guys, so be sure as always to keep it naughty and stay safe. And I shall see all of you legends in the next one. Peace out.